What is success? Over the next 7 days, I want to dive into what success is and how you can achieve it in your own life using a systematic approach that I've created. This approach has helped thousands of people who I've trained and influenced realize their fullest potential and achieve massive results. Now, I want to share this. The reality is that success is self-defined. One of the biggest mistakes that most people make is they look to everyone else to determine what their personal success should be for themselves. This is a massive waste of time, and you'll end up chasing a dream that isn't even yours. Instead, what you should do is take the time to think about and define what success is for yourself. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who I am and you've never seen a video of mine before, my name is Lenny Richardson. I'm an author, I'm the head of marketing and business development for a medical franchise, and I'm the founder of Productivity Accelerator, a training company that helps young, busy professionals achieve more in less time. In this series of videos, I want to dive deep into what success is and give you a step-by-step framework on how you can achieve this success. Before we get into it, I want to point this out to you. As I mentioned, success is self-defined. However, there are a series of steps you can take that have been scientifically proven, backed, and empirically studied that will help you get to whatever your personal definition of success is. It doesn't matter if this definition of success is become one of the best soccer players. It doesn't matter if this personal definition of success is become one of the best guitarists or musicians or engineer or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. If you follow the series of steps that I'm going to share with you in this 7-day video series, you will move closer to achieving that version of personal success, regardless of what it is. Now, before I get into the actual framework, I want to share a story with you that will help illustrate the points I'm going to make and help everything else make sense. This is a story from my own life. This took place several years ago in 2017, if I recall correctly. In 2017, I moved to Northern Virginia. My goal at the time was to become an attorney. I had just taken the LSAT, I had just graduated from college, and the overall goal was to go to Georgetown. I was going to go to Georgetown in the spring semester of 2018, in January. And in the meantime, I was sort of just wandering. I was trying to figure out what the best path to take was. I wasn't really too sure if I wanted to become an attorney, and I wasn't quite sure what life would hold for me. I was kind of debating if I wanted to get into real estate. I was sort of just all over the place. Now, at this time as well, I was also working at a retail store called Brooks Brothers. Some of you may be familiar with it, some might not be. Pretty much this store, Brooks Brothers, they sell high-end luxury clothing like suits, dress shirts, and things of that nature. And at the time, I remember this one gentleman coming in. He was looking for a suit. I was one of the best salesmen at Brooks Brothers for selling suits, and the manager always suggested I make the final sale because it's such a high-ticket item at the store and made up most of our revenue. They wanted to guarantee that the sale was actually closed. Me and the gentleman talked for a bit about our goals, business, and future plans. He suggested I could do more than just work at a retail store. Afterwards, I remember we exchanged contact information, and I met up with him for coffee at one point, and he shared a story with me. This guy was sort of the head of his IT department for his company. While we had coffee, he shared a story about one of his former bosses. Now, one of his former bosses, by all metrics and all appearances, was successful. She had a high-income job, she worked extremely hard, and was extremely disciplined. But there was one problem. He said that he would keep coming to her office, of course, to consult with her and ask her questions. And he kept seeing a picture of her children framed on her desk. In this picture of her children, they were both babies. He goes on to tell me that at one point, he came to her office to consult her as usual, and seemingly overnight, the baby pictures were gone, and they were replaced with college students. So he goes to ask his boss what happened to the babies in the photo, and if these new photos were maybe her niece or nephews or some other relatives. And she said, no, these are my children, but now they're in college. And so his thought process was, well, they were just babies recently. At least based on the photos you had, they were just babies. What happened to them? And so long story short, she pretty much explained that because she was working so much, so from the time that they were babies until now that they were in college, she didn't really have that much time to spend with them. So of course that meant she didn't have a lot of photos with them. Because while she did have a lot of money, and on the surface she had the appearance of success, like a nice car, a nice house, and wealth, she didn't really have time to spend with her family. She was lacking in the time aspect. And As the gentleman and his boss conversed with each other, she admitted to him that she did regret working so much and trying to make so much money just to get this ideal version of success, or at least this version of success that society told her was the ideal. Because in exchange, she ended up missing a huge chunk of her children's lives. And so I thought this was a pretty interesting story that he shared with me. Because when I heard the story, it made me think about this question. What exactly is success? Is success money? Is success status? Is success being able to take endless vacations? Is success that cliche idea of sipping a mojito or margarita on the beach endlessly? Who knows? There is no right or wrong answer because it's defined by you. It's what you want. Now, with that being said, I do want to share this with you. One thing that I found to be consistent is that no matter what your goal is, the thing that makes any version of success a reality, no matter what you define it as, is time management. You need to have time management in order to achieve any version of success, no matter what you choose that version of success to be. Whether your goal is being 6-time Mr. Olympia champion like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you need time management. Whether your goal is to become an esteemed military general and the first president of the United States like George Washington, you need time management. Whether your goal is to grow a large multi-billion-dollar company like Jeff Bezos at Amazon, you need time management. Whether your goal is to become a social butterfly or become a socialite that would make even Casanova jealous, you need time management. Hopefully this point is sticking in your head and making a lot of sense to you. No matter what your goals are, you need time management. And the reality is that most great things in life don't happen randomly. There's a bit of a methodology and discipline required to at least put oneself close to their goals and their ideal version of success. Now, from the research I've done and from what seems to be the accepted consensus, there are 3 main aspects that create success. These 3 aspects are 1, grit, 2, iteration, and 3, consistency. Now, just to kind of define what these 3 terms are, grit is essentially the ability to fail and keep trying. Iteration is the ability to constantly try new things and make necessary tweaks in pursuit of whatever your goal is. And consistency is doing things long enough to see the end result, pretty much not failing and not giving up. Now, I do want to share a personal example from my own life to demonstrate this. Years ago, when I was in college, I had a goal to get in much better shape. The goal at that time, of course, was to impress the ladies. I was a college student. So I prioritized getting bigger and stronger. I wanted to have the nice muscles, kind of have like a beach body, get the abs, the big chest, the big shoulders going. And in pursuit of trying to achieve my ideal physique, which at that time I did end up achieving, at least relatively close to my ideal physique, I realized that in hindsight, I ended up going through these exact 3 steps for success. So let me start with grit just to kind of articulate each point. I would fail my workouts constantly. I was new to working out. So I'd either end up skipping them entirely or not being able to lift as heavy as I wanted to lift, which in my book is still a failure. I remember even in one instance, I overestimated what I can lift significantly, and I had a barbell nearly crush my neck. I remember I was doing, I think it was incline bench press, and I remember I really overestimated how much I could lift. I think I put on about 250 pounds. It was about 250 pounds on the incline bench press. And I think prior to that, I'd only lifted about 225 pounds. But I really felt like I can get out 250. And I remember going to bench it. I got about halfway up and immediately dropped it back on myself. And it pinned me at such a weird angle and in such a weird position, I couldn't really lift it off me. For anyone that's gone to the gym, I'm sure you understand what I mean by that. But long story short, it was very uncomfortable, and several people at the gym had to come over and help me get the barbell off and not let it crush my throat. But the point that I want to make is that despite failing, I kept going to the gym. I still go to the gym to this day. I kept going after that negative experience, and that is an example of grit. Next is iteration. In the process of spending years going to the gym trying to achieve your fitness goals, you end up kind of learning different ways to lift weights. I remember I would learn things like drop sets, supersets, giant sets, pyramid sets, high intensity interval training, etc. Now, again, if you're not someone that goes to the gym frequently, or if you're not super deep into fitness or bodybuilding, these specific terms might not make that much sense to you. But the point I'm trying to make is that in pursuit of my goal at the gym, you learn different ways to lift weights. You learn different strategies. You learn different insights. You understand why some things matter more than others. This is all an example of iteration, making constant tweaks in order to get to the ideal end goal. Finally, there's consistency. As you may or may not know, muscle was not built in a single day. It takes years for your body to sort of adapt to the stimulus you're putting on your muscles. It takes consistency. Now, for me, it took about 3 to 4 years before I really dialed in my routine and really saw the results I was satisfied with. This is just a real life example of these 3 aspects applied to a real life circumstance to kind of give you an idea of what these 3 aspects mean. These 3 traits are the fundamental components of success no matter what your goal is. And over the next 7 days, I want to kind of go deeper and go into very specific tactics that you can apply into your own life with these 3 aspects in mind that will help you get closer and closer to your ideal version of success. Now, just to sort of preface what you can expect from the next 7 videos, day 1 is going to be the power of vision and clarity. In order for you to achieve success, you have to know exactly what you're striving for. Day 2 will be a prioritization masterclass. We're going to focus on the things that truly matter that will help you get from point A, where you are now, to point B, where you'd like to be in the near future. On day 3, we'll focus on mastering time management and how to properly plan out your day. We're going to help you go from chaos to control. On day 4, we're going to focus on eliminating distractions. A lot of people in the modern era are distracted by every little thing. We're going to show you how to eliminate each of those distractions, so you can essentially be a superhuman when it comes to productivity in the modern era. On day 5, we'll be discussing how to create keystone habits, and we'll go deep into how small changes, just little tweaks in your life, can lead to massive results. On day 6, we'll go into reviewing, reflecting, and adapting. This will be sort of a 3-step process that you'll need to understand in order to sort of sharpen the saw in your own life and make sure that you're actually making objective progress toward whatever goal you have in mind. And then finally, on day 7, we're going to go over my productivity ecosystem, as I like to call it, where I'll review everything and tie it all together with a few additional resources that help you excel even faster. And that'll conclude everything. Now, before I end the video, I do want to give you a very brief disclaimer. By the time you watch these 7 videos, I'm not saying that you'll absolutely have achieved your goals. But what I am guaranteeing is that you'll have all the tools and all the systems and all the processes necessary to achieve your goals in the very near future. So with all of that being said, my name's Lenny Richardson, and I hope you enjoyed this introduction into my 7-day video series. I'm super excited to help you achieve your goals, and I'll see you in the next video.